All right, let's say hello to one of the big winners from this past Saturday night's UFC Vegas 12 event, an incredible knockout win over Victor Rodriguez. Welcome to the UFC, Adrian Yanez. That was quite the introduction. How are you, sir?
And I'm doing very well, man. I'm super excited, man. I'm still on cloud nine, man. Still on cloud nine.
Yeah, I mean, you go in there, you get the quick finish, highlight reel fashion, got a bonus to boot. I know you're typically a very self-critical person when it comes to fights, but that's how most people in this sport are. But you probably have to dig pretty deep to find anything wrong with that performance. Is that accurate?
A little bit, man, but I kind of relaxed a little bit too much on the cage. I should have turned off a little bit more, and then also I kind of got a little content at one spot, and I didn't move my head as much. He threw an overhand right. Caught me on my neck, not on the head though. But I'll still find something to critique, man. I'll still find something, man. But it was a great performance. It was a great performance.
All right, what are you grading it? What are you giving yourself a grade?
I give myself, man. It's somewhere between a B plus and A minus, man.
All right,
Yeah.
that's better than I thought you were gonna say.
Yeah. No, because I had to take myself away from it for a little bit, but I kind of wish I would have caught it with the chin instead of the foot, man. Because my pinky toe's been hurting.
I mean, what a road it has been for you. I mean, getting the contract on the Contender Series, and I've talked to enough of them at this point to know that some of them get to this point and it's like the dream was already accomplished for them, like right then and there in that moment. Like Dana White says, come up and get your contract. They're like, I did it. And they sort of rest on their laurels. You are taking the opposite approach, clearly. Does it feel more real to you now that you had your first fight and you got that first win out of the way?
Man, it was weird because I just felt like at home. Like I felt at home as soon as I got there. It was this weird type of feeling of like I knew I belonged, and it was like, of course I'm not gonna get comfortable. It's I'm at home, but I'm not ever gonna get comfortable with the position I'm in. Like, yeah, of course I got signed, I got a contract and everything, but man, like to be in the UFC, a lot of people get content. They get into the UFC and they're just like, I'm here, cool. They just want the name, they want the brand, they want the oh, I'm a UFC fighter. They want this. I don't want to just be a UFC fighter. I want to be a great fighter that I don't have to be correlated with the UFC, if that makes sense. I want like anytime someone brings up Anderson Silva, you'll know who Anderson Silva is. That's why I want people to know me, and I want to be up there making waves in the top 10. I don't just want to be in the UFC because it's in the UFC. I want to be one of the best in the world, and that's how I am keeping my mentality for this. Now that I'm in the UFC, I had it before the UFC, is I want to be top 10, eventually fighting for the belt, man. That's my goals, man, and I'm gonna keep striving for it, man. So that's what keeps me level headed towards this.
I mean, you mentioned Anderson Silva. Was it perfect timing for this debut? I mean, this could have very well been the last time we see him in the UFC. I don't even want to get into how I feel about that whole situation, but still, you're debuting on potentially his final fight. That's got to mean something, right?
Oh, it means the world to me, man. I can only just keep harping at the fact, man, that he's one of the greatest to ever do it in the sports of mixed martial arts and everything. So to me, I look at it and for him, this possibly being his last fight, his retirement fight, and me debuting, I just feel like there's a correlation, man. It's meant to be. One legend retires, maybe one's debuting. So that's how I'm taking it as, man. So that's how I'm taking it as, man. I would love just to see, because man, I'm. As a fan, I never want to see anybody walk away. I wish he was still in his prime, still doing what he was doing. But life is different. So I would just want to see him go out with all his wits.
It was crazy to watch him because he looked exactly the same. He's 45 years old, but he looked incredible. And you can argue that before he got dropped in the third round, I think you might have been winning that fight. It's just crazy to see. It's not like he's getting run over by anybody,
Yeah, man. I had him 2-0. I had him 2-0 just because of the activity and everything. He was controlling that third round. I believe he was controlling that point until he got dropped at the end of it. And then that fourth round, I just kind of felt, man, it was going to happen. But man, he looked really good. I was looking at things and I was like, oh, he's getting loose, he's getting open. But man, as much as it says, man, as much as I want to say, yeah, please stay in it, I'm just like, hey, I think it is perfect time for him just to hang it up. He has all his wits, man. He's a legend. I don't want him to become like one of the people that stays in it for too long, man. That's one thing I hate seeing. Just that one person who just can't get out of it, man. So I'd rather him just see where he's at now and just keep it that way.
So you were originally supposed to fight Aaron Phillips on this card, and this fight got booked pretty quickly after the Contender Series win. How long after you got the contract to be a UFC fighter on the Contender Series did you put pen to paper for this debut fight?
Man, it was like for the actual contract for my first official fight.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that one, honestly, like once I got back home on Wednesday. And like I fought Tuesday, talked to my manager on that same night. He's like, yeah, just tell me whenever you're ready. I got back home. It was actually right before I took off for my flight back home. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling good. My hand's great. He's like, let's just go. Put me in. And then by that night, he calls me like it was at my time, it was 12 o'clock. It was midnight for me. So whenever I got that call, I was like, he's like, yeah. He's like, we got a guy, Aaron Phillips. He's like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. He's like, woke me up from my sleep, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So October 31st was the date. Part of me was kind of like, hey, man, let's go sooner. But I'm like really glad that we ended up taking October 31st and just waited and trained and was able to train efficiently. So that was a blessing. So yeah, it was like literally like the next day.
That's crazy. When did you find out that Aaron was out of the fight and that Victor was in? Was there some time in between where they were trying to find somebody for you?
It was like I think he had pulled out like 2 weeks, and then by the next day, like they had me an opponent. Like I found out like on a Monday or Tuesday that I think it was a Monday that he pulled out, that Aaron Phillips pulled out, and then after that, they ended up finding me a replacement. I actually messaged my manager, and he was like, yeah, they're working on it right now. Actually, matter of fact, I just got a name. Victor Rodriguez is like, I'll take him. I was like, first guy they threw at me. I was like, I'll take him. It's like, there was like, on my end, on me answering, I was like, man, I would have said yes to the first person, whoever they said. I was cool. I was with it. So that was the first person, and that's how it happened.
The game is so different than it was like a decade ago. So did you have to make a lot of changes at all, or is it more about, what you're doing rather than what your opponent has done in the past? Because evolution happens so quickly in this game, it's almost hard to like go back and watch past fights because you could be fighting a completely different guy when you get in there.
Oh yeah, man. That's why a lot of times, especially this is honestly what happened to me so much on the regional circuit. This is why, like, whenever you look at my Tapology page and you see like all of, like the canceled bouts, if you look at the fights, it's usually because like the canceled bouts, it's usually because they pulled out. It wasn't me ever really pulling out. There was a couple times where I pulled out due to injuries, but it's mostly been other people pulling out, and like there's nothing I can do about that. So this was just more one of the same, that like when Aaron pulled and they had Victor step in, to me it was like, well, I've been training my whole entire life. Like I've been training like since I was a teenager. I was like, man, this doesn't bother me. I was like, I've had people switch on me, switch opponents like a week of before, so it's been pretty crazy at that point. But at this, like in the UFC level, I just knew that they were going to find me somebody, and I was just like, well, this whole training camp wasn't about the other fighter. It's always been about me and what I do and what I do best. So it wasn't really too much of how can I say it, like too much of a switch. It was just more me just being me. Also, what helped me out is that I saw his last fight, and I saw some tendencies that he had. What a little bit tricked me out is that he came out in orthodox, because his last fight he came out southpaw. So I knew that he would like to switch, but whenever he stayed a little bit more in orthodox for me, I was like, no, you just made it way easier for me. I was like, you just made it super way easier for me, and then everything just happened the way it happened.
Having the fight in the same building as your Contender Series fight, was it comforting to you, or is it kind of a bummer because you've probably been picturing your first walk to the octagon for years in front of a crowd and friends and family, like, and you did the empty arena thing once again? What did you think of that experience? Was it a little more relaxing for you knowing that you just fought there?
It was more relaxing for me just because I fought there, but I also did like I got upgraded to a room this time because last time I was in that open area, but this time I had my own room, so my own little locker room. So I was having a blast back there. I was having a blast just getting ready for the fight. I was like, oh man, they have like wall mats and everything. The last time before, like they just gave us a big mat space, no wall, like nothing to do off the wall. There's just that big old area. So I was just really happy that I got back, and I was actually had like a nice, decent sized locker room. I was like, man, this is pretty nice. But yeah, no, I was having fun, man. Whenever I was there, it was all great for me. I'm so used to having the audience, but at the same time, the missing of the audience, man. I don't know what it was about it. But I just felt really, really comfortable, really zoned in. These last 2 times that I fought with no crowd, I was so zoned in. So I don't know if that has to do with the crowd or just me just being super focused on what's in front of me. Even in my fight before with Kyle Estrada, it might be due to the audience or whatever, but I was super zoned in when I fought Kyle that I wasn't really too sure about what's going on around me, but I could hear the crowd and the cheers, and like in the tough spots, I guess it would help get me through. But this time around, since like these last 2 finishes that I had, like I was just super zoned in and was not influenced by anything on the outside. It was just like my coaches, and his coaches, and it was just us in the middle, just fighting. It was pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot better. But also, I can't wait till I have to get that experience of me knocking somebody out and just hearing the crowd just roar. That's one thing that I'm waiting for next. I wanted the knockout and then like the silence. And I've had that twice already. Now I'm just ready to hear the crowd roar.
Did you hear Brendan Fitzgerald and Michael Bisping screaming after you landed that kick and finished the fight? Because it was perfect. I know you landed with the toe and your pinky toe hurts a little bit, but you threw it right as he was circling. He runs right into it. The timing was beautiful. Could you hear those guys going crazy? You might not have heard them during the fight, but like after it was over, did you hear them yelling and screaming?
Yeah, I just heard everybody yelling and screaming. Like it was more like after like you heard like 10 or 15 people were like, oh wow, like I just heard it around, but my first instinct was to automatically turn to Dana White and just be like, hey man. That was my first instinct. And what helped out was after I landed and Herb was like I was already walking off, but Herb still kind of pushed me off, and I walked, and first person I see is Dana, so I started doing the money sign, like, hey, what's up? So after that, like, I kind of just walked over to my corner and I really didn't hear, like, I just heard the, like, people, but I didn't really pay attention to who it was coming from. I just walked to my corner, and it was just like, hey, we did it.
Did Dana say anything to you?
He just looked at me once I did the like, I was like, is that 50 G's worthy? Doing the, like, he's like, hey, is that 50 G's worthy? And he just looks at me, he's like, yeah. And I was like, all right. So I walked on. I was like, yep. And I think I have a good feeling I'm getting it today.
And you sure did. And with that, a little bit of some momentum, clearly a lot of excitement surrounding you after these last 2 fights. You logged a little over 3 minutes of cage time. How soon do you want to get back in there and keep this train rolling, man?
Man, it honestly depends. It honestly depends. I know my November is like man, like I have a lot of things going on for November. We got people getting ready for their own fights. Texas is starting to open up, especially in the combat sports. So I would want to fight December 19th. I like December 19th, the week before Christmas. To me, that's perfect timing. But also, if that's not possible, I don't mind waiting until January, like end of January, beginning of February. That area, so I can still get one in and it still be pretty soon, because I do want to stay relatively active. Like I don't want to take no large breaks, so I want to get back in. I want to get back in there. So in a perfect world, December 19th. But if not, I'll wait till January, February. Still being in the realm of being active. So just depends. I don't want to fight around Christmas. I don't want to fight like during the Christmas times or during the New Year's times, just because I know everything's gonna be hectic and everything. But man, week before Christmas would be great.
Yeah, the man's got to eat too. Can't keep you away from all.
Oh yeah, way cool, man. Yeah, because I'm gonna have to deal with Thanksgiving with that too, man. Then I have my best friend's wedding here pretty soon, so I'm just like, oh man, there's a lot of things going on, man.
You mentioned how it was kind of the meant to be that you and Anderson were on the same card. I thought it was interesting that you and Miles Johns both fought on this card. You both got bonuses. He was the last person to pick up a win over you. That was a very close fight. It could have gone either way back in 2018. Fight game just works in mysterious ways sometimes, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, man. It was really cool, man. It was really cool, man. I was seeing him during fight week every once in a while. Ran into him. I was like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? You doing good? He's like, yeah, bud. I said, man, ready to weigh in and everything. I was like, man, I can see that. Yeah, no, real cool guy, man. Especially outside the cage, really cool guy. Man, he really deserved to pick up that win. Especially against a tough fighter like Kevin Natividad. I don't know how to. If I butchered his last name,
you got it, man. You got it.
Yeah. But yeah, like a lot of these people from the outside looking in are not going to see how impressive that knockout was, because that knockout that he hit him with, like, it looks impressive, but they don't understand how tough that guy actually was, because that guy is definitely tough. He knocked out Calistrado whenever I didn't. I was like taking a look at that. So, he knocked out a legit fighter. He knocked out a legit fighter. So, man, the dude's good. The dude's good.
Do you think they'll maybe entertain running that one back?
Man, I wouldn't mind running anything back. I wouldn't mind running anything back with any of my losses. So, it all depends, man. It all depends. I at this point, I really don't care who I fight. Honestly, like just sign me up for another one.
We have a matchmaking show on MMA fighting. It's called On to the Next One, and we usually, we try to predict the future for the main card, maybe the future prelim winner, and then we pick like a wild card choice based off anybody we haven't picked. So I picked you because I wanted to see more, as does a lot of other people, I'm sure. But I thought a fun scrap would be you and Tony Kelly. He's coming off his first UFC win, fight of the night in his debut up a weight class. That'd be a good one for the fans, man. It'd be like a tornado of destruction. That would be just a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, anybody can and will get it, man. I have no problem with anything. Look, man, I don't know how anybody is outside the cage, man, but we can be friends. We can be enemies, whatever you want. It's just know whenever we step in the cage, it's all business, and when we step out, we can have a beer or something, man. I don't care.
There you go.
But that's just how I am, man. That's just how I am. Anybody can and will get it. After the fight, man, we can grab a beer or something, man. It don't matter. Unless you don't like me after it. I don't care.
Spoken like a true professional right there. I was reading an interview earlier today you did with Thomas Gerbasi, and you said that since the Contender Series win, you just continued to rock Contender Series gear. Are we going to switch the wardrobe a little bit to the fight kit stuff, some UFC stuff, now that we got a victory here?
That gets put into rotation. So now I have a little bit more to switch in between. All right, I don't have to be constantly washing my clothes every 2 or 3 days, man. I can actually be like, all right, cool. I can let the dirty laundry pile up. But man, yeah, it's cool, man. I'm actually rocking some of the sweatpants, man. They're super comfortable, man. They're super comfortable. Actually, I got the long sleeve too, man. The long sleeve. Actually, matter of fact, I got the Dana White Contender Series right now, man. So yeah, it's been nonstop, man. And honestly, like, I used to look at I used to look at some people who would wear the contender stuff, and I'd be like, or not the contender stuff, but like the UFC stuff, like, I would always be like, man, that's like, well, just like regular people would wear the UFC stuff, and I'm like, man, it's like that's stupid. But now that I'm here, I'm just like, nah, man, where, yeah, UFC, and I got it. I'm just over here thinking, it's like, man, I wonder if people think like I'm just like excuse my French, but like a douchebag. I was like, because I'm just out here rocking all this UFC stuff, but it's pretty cool to me, man. It's just pretty cool. It also symbolizes kind of something like, man, I worked really hard to get here, so I'm gonna keep wearing it, man. It's like a badge of honor to me, so I'm gonna keep wearing it.
There you go. And to kind of build on that before we let you go, you went through a lot. It was talked about on the Contender Series, talked about on Saturday as well, the passing of your father in 2016. I can't imagine what that was like for you, being so close to my father. But listen, you battled through it. You still realize that dream of getting to the UFC that you shared with him along the way. And that's just an amazing story. And this has been a year that has tested everybody's emotions. A lot of people have had some bumps in the road, some devastating things happen along the way, and maybe they had to put their dreams on hold, or they just can't get out of their own way because of tragedies they've had to face. So what advice would you give to those folks who might be feeling that way and maybe need a little boost to get back on track? What would you say to those folks?
And it's hard, man. It really is hard. And honestly, on like my advice was just always just kind of just face it, man. Like, you can't keep putting it off. Like, because the minute you keep putting it off, man, it's like it'll ache at you and ache at you and ache at you. And no matter what you do, like, it will always be there if you don't face it. You have to face it. You can't just let it keep running. Because I know whenever I was dealing with everything, it really like dampened me and who I was, even as a person. Like, everybody around me can see it. Everybody can see it. Like, it was bothering me. At least, like, it took like 2.5 years for me just to even just address it, man. And I was in like living in my own type of like mental like prison until I started reaching out, man. Like, it's possible. You can get through it. It's never, if you're dealing with a death or something like that, you will never get over it. You will just be able to find a way to handle it. And then like me, my father was going through chemotherapy, going through all of his stuff with cancer. I was like, what helps me is knowing that he's not battling or not going through that suffering anymore of going through the cancer. And that's what helps me cope with it. But man, it's hard. You have to deal with it day by day. It's literally seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years, man. It takes a while, but you just can't stop, man. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and you always have to keep striving and going towards it. Because, like, when you're depressed, the people around you will know. And this is why you need good people around you. Because without the good people around that I had, I don't think I would have came this far. I think, honestly, I probably would have been down the route of alcoholism and everything, and because I was getting to a point of my life in that. So, man, if you're out there and you're dealing with something, man, like, I'm praying for you, man. Like, this, you're not alone, man. That's another big thing. You're not alone. Just reach out, man. There's help numbers. They have a lot of things that are out there that can help you, man. Don't take advantage. Don't not take advantage of that, because it's all there for you to use. It's there to help you. And please, don't go through this life depressed, man. This life is meant to be happy. You're meant to have adventure. You're meant to go follow what you really want and follow your dreams, man. So just keep after it.
Well said, man. Oh, but by the way, after the win, I assume you went to your manager's house. Did you get a little collective Iridium team celebration, I would assume?
Oh yeah, man. I went over there. Whenever I went after, yeah, it was pretty fun. I was out there. It was like the last time we went, it was just the contenders. Then it was a Tuesday night. We went over there. They had some food for us. It was pretty cool. It was a nice small little thing. But this last time I went, since we had like about 4 or 5 Iridium fighters, went there. It was like a little party, man. I had a great time when I was there. As soon as I got there, like, they had ordered food for everybody, but I was like one of the last to show up because I went to go pick up my mom, my girlfriend, my brother, and then we went over to my manager's house. He's like, "Hey, what do you want?" I was like, "What do you want? You want Mexican food?" I was like, "Hey, man." Hey. He's like, "You want a burger? What do you want?" I was like, "Man, you know what?" He's like, "You want pizza?" I was like, was like, you know what, you're right. I do want pizza. I was like, so I ended up ordering me a pizza, man. It was good, man. I don't know where you got it from, but it was pretty good.
You gave yourself a B plus A minus for your performance. What would you grade Alex Hernandez's suit that night? Because I saw pictures on Instagram. It was like a big checkerboard.
Oh yeah, I have it right underneath Bruce Buffer's suit. A plus. I would say Bruce Buffers is at A plus plus, and Alex Hernandez is at an A plus, man. Just right underneath, man. Yeah, so I was really impressed. As soon as I walked up, I was like, whoa, that's Alex Yanez. He was like, you're the guy that almost stole my 50K. I was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. He was like, oh man, sick KO, man. I was like, thank you, man. It was fun. It was a fun night.
Great stuff, Adrian. Incredible performance on Saturday. Excited to see what's next for you. Congratulations on everything, and thank you for the time, man. Enjoy it. Enjoy the holidays. Eat some food, brother.
No, thank you very much, man. Have a blessed one.